everyone. This is David Q2 again. I'm doing podcasts for the letters written to Congress, and hopefully more people get on board and we'll start putting them with letters. As always, make sure your request to be added to the official record. This is a formal opposition to the dismantling of the U.S. Department of Education and the reclassification of professional degrees. Dear representatives, I am writing to you today as a concerned constituent to formally register my opposition to the ongoing effort to dismantle the United States Department of Education, ED, and the recent regulatory actions taken under the Big Beautiful Bill, OBBBA, regarding the classification of professional degrees. Respectfully request that this letter be entered into the official record, national record, as a testimony against these measures which threaten the educational infrastructure of the workforce and stability of our nation. The dismantling of the Department of Education, the current administration initiative to dissolve the Department of Education and transfer its core function to the other federal agencies, such as moving K-12 oversight to the Department of Labor and Special Education, the Department of Health and Human Services, represents a catastrophic fragmentation of our federal responsibility. 5 calls, which reference there. The Department of Education is not merely a bureaucracy entity; it is a primary enforcement mechanism for civil rights, schools, guaranteeing the guarantor of equity for marginalized populations. Dismantling the ED endangers the enforcement of the Individual with Disabilities Education Act IDEA, which protects the rights of 7.5 million students with disabilities to receive free and appropriate education without dedicated agencies to oversee compliance. Enforcement will become fragmented and inconsistent, with leaving families with little resources against discrimination. Education Law Center 2025, a citation there. Furthermore, the termination of vital research contracts and the reduction of statistics staff undermine our ability to make data-driven policy decisions. And that's the Hitchinger report. The reclassification of professional degrees. I am equally alarmed. The Department of Education, November 2025, negotiated rulemaking, which establishes a restrictive definition of professional degree for federal student loan eligibility by reverting to a narrow list of professions rooted in 1965 regulations. The department has effectively stripped professional status from modern essential field. National Association of Student Financial Aid Administration 2025 cited there. According to recent guidance census during rulemaking, the following critical professions are among the excluded from professional degree designation. And that's nurse.com 2025, New York Academy of Medicine 2025, NASFAA 2025 are the cited in those. Nursing, including Masters of Science in Nursing and Doctor of Nursing practice. Teaching and Master in Education, Special Education, Social Work, Master of Social Work, Physical Assistant Studies, Public Health, Masters of Public Health, Physical Therapy and Occupational Therapy, Audiology and Speech Language Pathology, Counseling and Psychology, excluding Clinical Psychology, Architecture. That's a bad one to put in that list. And accounting. Every one of those are 4-year degrees minimum. So why are they not professional? We'll see. The consequences of lowering the degree status. This reclassification lowers the federal standing for these degrees by drastically reducing the financial aid available to students pursuing them under the new regulation effective July 1st, 2026. Students in these non-professional programs will be subject to strict annual federal loan cap of $20,500 compared to the $50,000 limit available to students on recognized professional fields like law and dentistry in a SFAA 2025, nurse.com 2025. This policy change ignores the reality that these professions require advanced degrees and an insurmountable financial barrier for low and middle income. This will inevitably exacerbate our existing workforce shortages in healthcare and education, particularly in rural, underserved communities where the need of the nurses, teachers, and social workers is most acute. New York Academy of Medicine 2025 is cited there. I urge you to use your oversight authority to block the dismantling of the Department of Education, and to oppose the implementation of these exclusionary degree classification. Yeah, that's pretty bad. They're going to say, okay, even though you got a master's degree, you're not a profession. So they're saying master's in education is not a profession. Architects is not a profession. Now, wait a second. Architects required to build a house know the differences in what needs to be load bearing, how much a wall can withstand, how much coverage they need over a certain distance, what types of materials should be used, what the strength of the materials should be used, and how much reinforcement they'll need to maintain the holding the building. By eliminating that in itself, architecture, which is an engineering degree, basically, you're saying that these people that design houses, design buildings, and design things like that do not rate a professional degree. Architects, but they require a high level of math. They require calculations and all that. Not normal. And somebody's directly out of high school could not do without practice. Could we turn it into a program where they get OJT apprenticeship and come? Yeah, we could, but they need the basis, which is the education. They don't have the basis, can't teach them stuff. So that's why removing these professional restrictions off these, saying they're no longer professional degrees, restricts the number of people that can get it. They are dismantling the Department of Education and destroying our education system and a lot of other sciences, mental health especially, to bankrupt our nation. Thank you for your time. Like, share, follow. Please remember, this will be a Substack and podcast for a little bit while I'm doing these letters, and hopefully I can do other stuff in between.